All right, everybody, and welcome to episode 7 of the Sean Lowery Show. We're here, and the topic for this episode is going to be my first business, and I can't even believe that I'm saying these words, but it's Pongee Studios. It was the first business. I can't say it was a massive success, but it was a launching point to where I am today. I've often talked about how I've had a long road to get to where I am, and this is the story of the beginning of the journey. So, one thing I'm good at is moving forward and erasing bad memories. But I was talking to this guy last week when I was in Chicago, where he has a beautiful Studley place where he overlooks the city. And we were strolling down memory lane, and we were dying laughing. And I told him to shut up. I said, this is going to be the next episode of the podcast. So I'm really excited to bring on this guest, one of my best friends, a pledge brother, and my first business partner, John DeSouza.
It's a pleasure to be here. I never thought, looking back, creating this Pongee Studios with you, that we'd be in this position where I would be in Chicago and you would be in South Carolina. So if you told me that,
dude,
how random is that? Over 9 years ago, 10 years, 11 years ago.
No, dude, it was like 2012.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right.
Like 8.
Yeah. Well, when I met you 10 years ago.
Oh, right.
Yeah. If you told me I'd be sitting here having a conversation with you about business, you would have blown my mind.
All right. So, what's your first memory? Pongee Studios.
So I mean, the inception was just a crazy. I mean, I knew the second I met you that this motherfucker was just out of his goddamn mind, and I knew that you would be successful just because most of the charismatic entrepreneurial types that I know are just batshit crazy to the point where that's the energy that drives them. They don't need drugs or alcohol or caffeine or anything like that. There's just something that wakes them up in the middle of the night, and there's something that gets them up, and there's something that keeps them going, and it's just like pulsing through their blood. And I immediately got that when I met you, and I knew, okay, this guy has a million ideas. I have a million ideas. I'm similar in the type, just don't have that energy.
We were friends. We were pledge brothers.
Yeah.
I'm a year older than you.
That's right.
But we're in the fraternity together, so it's not like we started a business right away. We were just like party friends.
Certainly party friends, but we always had bigger ideas for ourselves.
Yeah, we always did have ideas.
We're always in these situations where we were scheming on something or trying to come up with some kind of God knows what to be in a position to better ourselves or better our lives.
Hell yeah. And that's why I wanted to start it with you. Plus, you were the art type, which was needed.
Yes. Yep.
And I was like the business type. Plus, I just love hanging with you, scheming on stuff. So
yeah. No. Yeah, I think how this happened was I was finishing up my last year of art school, and you had been in your first year in the real world, had a job. Do you want to talk about that a little bit and where you were?
Yeah, I always wanted to start a business, and I just had a shitty job where I was making phone calls, and I walked out and just quit. And I was like, I'm starting my own business. I don't care what it takes. There's kind of like the batshit crazy that you were talking about in me.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what the hell to do. The only business I ever created was SDOT, which was just a crappy website just an idea. And I was just like, I don't know. I got to start now if I want to do something. What do I have to lose? I thought I might be smart. I thought I might be stupid. I wasn't 100% sure. I was actually like 50-50. And T-shirts. I don't know why. T-shirts are just like, it seems like there's a lot of routes you can go with that. And that actually proved to be true over the past 8 years. But my first thought was to hit you up. One thing I liked about you was we were friends and you were artists, and also like you were in Philly.
Yeah.
And Philly seemed like, remember I just like walking around and you're like, dude,
of course,
it's Philly, man. Like, I just thought I was like, yeah, the big city, we made it. Like, it was just really just walking around.
In my mind, it's like you just walked out of your job and just called me. You're like, I want to start a business, but I don't think it was exactly what you knew what you want to do. I mean, I always knew.
No, that's essentially right.
Yeah, I mean, I knew for you, sitting in a desk and being a drone wasn't where you saw yourself. Yeah. So I think that was the right step, and I think that you had a little bit more insight into like the t-shirt making process just because of like ordering shirts for Greek life and all kinds of different events and bullshit. So
yeah, I guess.
I mean, people were making orders. You saw it as like a low hanging fruit that you could start up pretty quickly.
Yeah. So I did convince you a little, I think.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, obviously a little bit skeptical, but I mean, I'm always down for an adventure, so I said, why not?
Yeah, yeah. And like what were you doing at the time? You were in art school and working at like
I was working at
the mall.
yeah, I was working at King of Prussia Mall. I was at the Levi store folding jeans, retail, and then I was going to school, finishing up my degree. I was in my last year, so it was kind of like perfect scenario to be doing all this at once, but just caught me at the right time.
You didn't have a lot to lose at the time, and this crazy guy was like, "Yo, let's do this." And you're like, all right, man. Like, all right, I'll do it.
Here comes Doc from Back to the Future with this crazy idea, with his hair going every which direction, telling me he wants to fucking make T-shirts for sororities, and I'm just like game for it.
Oh my god! So, T-shirts was the thing, and we got the equipment on a credit card. I remember making that like purchase. Actually, I think I remember I was with you when we had to buy our first like ink and stuff, and it was like $1,000.
Oh yeah,
and we were like, $1,000? And we were just like, dude, what are we getting into? Like, it was so much money.
It might have been $1 million.
Yeah,
it might have been.
It basically seemed like.
It felt like $1 million.
But we needed ink. And remember Rionet? You remember. This is one of the things you remember that I forgot.
Yes.
We went to a class.
Well, you need to take a little step. So Sean.
Okay.
Sean buys this. So to give you an idea of how screen printing works, you have this thing where you put a screen on it, and you essentially burn whatever picture you want to print into the screen, and then you run the ink through the screen, kind of like a stencil, a big ass stencil, and it's on this like kind of spinning wheel thing, so you have different colors and stuff, and you put the shirt down, you put the screen on top of it, and then you push the ink like a stencil. So Sean buys this screen printing press, and it
single head, I think.
I think it was dual. I think it was two. It was a two color.
All right.
So he buys this 2-color, and it comes with a free class. But the catch is the free class is like, we think it's in New York City, but it's like out in the suburbs and God knows where, upstate New York.
I think it said New York City.
I'm almost positive it said New York City.
It was a sales pitch, yeah.
So I had a friend in New York, and we said, screw it, we'll take a little road trip up there. We'll stay with him. We'll spend like the weekend in Philly, or in New York. We'll spend the weekend in New York. We'll go to this class. We'll learn everything. We'll come back pumped, ready to go. We get up there, and, and this class had every walk of life that you could imagine. There was a biker guy, and I'm not talking like Harley Davidson. He was like street racing motorcycle guy. He had the jacket on with his girlfriend hanging on him the whole time. There's a guy that literally looked like he lived in a log cabin in the middle of the Catskill Mountains on some creek. There was like every walk of life.
You remember this so much better than me. I don't remember like every person at that. But
every walk of life was accounted for. I think
it was in like the outskirts of the city.
Yes, there's every demographic. And I remember clearly because I had never seen a White Castle in person, but the building to this place was on the same street as a White Castle. It sticks out distinctly in my mind. And I was like, if I don't even know where there's a White Castle, I have no idea where the hell we are right now.
And we were staying at your buddy's place in New York, which was like a long trip because we had to take a public transportation or something. But we did it. And did we learn anything from it?
Yeah, I mean, it was the basics. It was a very great course.
It was helpful, I think.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
we had never seen screen printing before.
It's kind of like one of those like timeshare pitches where you go through the class, and then at the end of it, they try to sell you on a bunch of other shit, which is fine. I mean, granted, this class was the perfect crash course. I mean, we learned a lot. We learned how to screen print. We got the basics down. We knew exactly what we needed to do, and they gave it to us in bite-sized steps. That was very easy for us.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. Like everything we knew was from that. We didn't know anything else.
Yeah, and I think after that we just came back ready to rock. And
did we ever have a job before that?
See, I was trying to remember that in my mind what our first job was, and
I remember what our first
I knew what our first job was, and
okay. I think we might have printed like
this was
something.
It was an Eagle shirt with William.
Oh, that's what it was.
On City Hall, Philadelphia, at the top there's William Penn, and I created this logo of William Penn holding a football, and we like stole the Eagles logo and put it underneath of it. So that was our like let's try this class out and put something together.
And I remember specifically about that design that we only had like a small screen.
Yeah.
So it was like really tiny in the middle of the shirt.
Yep.
Like it wasn't as big as we needed it to be to take up the whole shirt, but we were like
so proud
of it. We're like,
so proud of it.
This is literally going to make us millions, I think we thought.
We thought, okay, this is truly like the stepping stone into what we could do. Like all these thoughts just started going through our head. The possibilities are endless. We could create a clothing company. We could print shirts for people. We could turn it into this conglomerate that just does custom orders for people. Like possibilities.
And I sold those William Penn shirts in the parking lot because I was like the business side. Like you're like, I'll do the art, you do the sales. So I went to a tailgate of the Eagles game and tried to sell these shitty ass shirts.
Sure.
And I remember I sold this one like 12-year-old girl who got her dad to sell it. And then I remember these guys, these cool dudes who were like used to doing it. They came up to me and they're like, "Yo, what, did you make those shirts in your basement or something, man?" And I was like,
"Yeah,
no."
Yeah, I mean they were pretty right. But
and then the cops stopped me. But I think I made like $80, $90 in sales.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah,
I sold something that I made. It was a good little step.
It was definitely
probably
a great
lost
feeling.
money overall, but we made it.
And that was before we even had a name for this business idea.
Right.
Right. We just.
So then we had a name. So then we had to come up with a name, and I remember that was a big thing.
It was a big thing to come up with a name, and we were kind of like mulling over different ideas, and we went down this long path of like silk. Is there something we could do with silk, or is something we could do with fabric, or something like that? And Pongee is some like Japanese type of silk. God
we
only
had to
knows.
we put it in like Google and then did like thesaurus for like other words for silk.
Yes.
And we're like Pongee. All right.
Pongee. And I remember I wasn't too proud of that name and like trying to describe that to people. Like, what the fuck is Pongee?
Yeah.
What the hell is Pongee?
But then I remember I was like, it doesn't matter what the name is. We'll make it cool.
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't. I was like, we got to get past this step. Pick the name.
Yes.
And then we got to just start doing business. It doesn't matter what our name is or anything like that.
That's exactly right.
Which was a good sentiment that I had.
100%. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it definitely.
And it wasn't the name's fault that the business was subpar.
Yeah.
That was us. That was the business.
And we put together this logo. It was, I mean, for the time period in design, it had gradients and it was this.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It was green. It was green and gold. It was like showing I forget. We were trying to show growth, and we were trying to show like our bond, and it was like kind of like an infinity symbol. It was like it might as well have been live, laugh, love. Like it might as well have been.
We had a whole thing behind it.
Yeah.
The green stands for growth. The yellow stands for our customers. And it's
something,
all connected
or something like that.
Into the future of t-shirts.
I had taken like a branding class, and I was like trying to tie all these words to this logo, and I was just like pulling this shit out of my ass, and we went with it. I mean, it worked.
And the other word that was big in it was studios. That's the first thing we decided on.
Pongee Studios.
Like, it's gonna be whatever studios,
right.
Because studios sounds better than like tees or like whatever. Like,
right. I remember it was like we didn't want to limit ourselves to tees or some kind of like we didn't want to pigeonhole ourselves into a business. Like we could turn it into anything. Like studios, it could be like creative. We could turn it into an ad agency. We could have, we just had all these different ideas for it.
So we absolutely spent way too much time on the name, but it wasn't terrible.
It was fine. It was fine.
Yeah, it's better than any of the other names for my businesses, like United Teas or anything like that.
And then our second job, our first real job was the Zeta heart shirt with the hearts on them.
Oh man,
it was these black shirts with a red.
That was like a bad omen. So yeah, we nailed the job because it was like I just graduated and Shelby was in a sorority.
Yes,
and I was like, all right, we can hit the sorority up, and we sold them. It was kind of like a big deal. We were pumped when we got the like first check for the first half or something, and we printed it in my mom's basement. Now, Mom, I love you. If she might have stopped listening by episode 7, I think she listened to episode 1 and 2. But Mom, I love you so much. I said you were one of my influences in the last episode, but I'm still mad at her that she, on the day we were about to print the first job, she said, no, you can't do this in my basement. Now, granted, my mom lives in a townhouse. We shouldn't have been doing it in her basement.
And these houses, it's not like a townhouse where there's separation in between the two houses. These houses are connected. Like,
so literally, this is off topic, but 10 years later, her neighbor had a fire in the basement and had to like move out. But yeah, it's not the best setting. But she was like, yeah, she said we could do it. And we had all the equipment and the heat press and the stuff. And then she stopped us. And, I'm still a little mad about that just because of the timing of it. If you don't want us to do it down there, don't let us.
Got her first job. Obviously, it's just like clockwork. It's like your first job. You got to have your first roadblock. You're like starting a business. Got to have that first. First roadblock comes from the least likely suspect.
Least like out of the blue. My mom said, no, you can't print in the basement.
I'm shutting it down.
It was shutting it down. And like, I was like, no, you're not. You can't stop me. And I think she like hid the ink or something, or like, she was very adamant that we could not.
Oh, yeah. I remember she was
concerned about the basement.
Yeah.
I guess catching on fire or something like that.
But
she should have thought about that beforehand.
Granted.
But whatever. So that's my mom. We had our first obstacle, and we ended up, let's do it like the next day or something. So we eventually did it. I think we had to like hit the girls up and be like, hey, I'm sorry, it's going to be a day or two late or something like that. But we got it to them on time, and it looked really good. But you remember the main problem with that job, right?
Yeah, so what we didn't realize is that if you don't have a commercial dryer for the ink, what you have to do is cure the ink. You have to put it under this heat source that kind of bakes the ink into the fabric fibers, and then it will like stay in there so that when you wash it, it doesn't wash out. Which we had no clue. We had no idea that this was even a thing. We just thought,
oh, it's not wet anymore.
We just screen print it, and then we just put this little heating thing over top of it, hitting it with a flash heat, and then we're like, okay, it's not rubbing off. It's probably good. So little do we know, these girls wear the shirts and then wash them, and then we see pictures popping up, and all the ink is just torn off. Like the print,
just gone.
The print is just
after
off.
one wash.
One wash, the print is gone off the shirt, or it's patchy, or they're just like using them as rags.
I think the good part was that they got a group picture like right when they unboxed them.
Yeah.
So we used that for like promotion.
Yes.
Later.
Yeah.
Like sororities, we do sororities
on the website. We had that as a promo shirt. Like we were definitely like, luckily we didn't have a review section, but
you were friends with one of the girls, right?
Yeah.
Didn't they like come to hang out with you?
Yeah.
They were just like casually wearing the shirts. Obviously, they were trying to say like send a message.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it just looked like it was 50 million years old, and they just took the shirt from like a caveman because it was so beat up and washed out, right?
I don't even think Goodwill would like take this as a donation. This thing was so torn and ragged.
And they only washed it one time.
And not only that, we were trying to print a dark color on a dark shirt. They were black shirts. They weren't white shirts. So on top of that, we had to hit it with so many different prints.
Oh my God. We're supposed to do an underbase.
So like on a white shirt, it's easy to print any color because it's obviously white. So the background, you don't have to build it up. But on a dark shirt, if you want to print light, you have to hit it a few times and build up this little bit of a base. So that way it'll show through. And these shirts with a 2-color press and like hundreds of them, like it was a nightmare. We had no idea what we got ourselves into. We're in this basement.
The thing you had me dying over when we were talking last time was you're like, yeah, me and you're just doing back-breaking labor.
It was literally back-breaking labor.
It was so like in my mom's basement. She does not have the setup for this. So she has a garage that goes from the basement out to the front porch, which is directly next to our neighbor's driveway, and that's where we watch the screens out in the middle of the night. And we were just like in the middle of the night. These like pink screens, and we were just like washing them out. It was freezing cold for starters.
Yeah,
it was like
it was
January in Philly.
I think it was in the. Oh yeah, it was in January. We started it. Yeah, it was January.
Something like that. It was cold. I remember it was freezing fucking cold.
Yes.
And we had to go outside and just spray these out in the driveway. Then I think we had to like wait till the next day to be able to use it or something like that. It was just a long process. I think you crashed on my mom's couch a couple of nights.
Oh, I've had plenty of nights where I either slept in Craig's bed at Sean's brother or on the couch. We were there until all hours of the night, just printing these shirts, back-breaking labor for like $300. It was like a 2-week long process, 2-man process, and it took us 2 weeks.
Like I didn't even think about
$300.
I was just like, we'll get the job, we'll get the equipment, and then it'll be good. I didn't even think about the labor, which I didn't. You cared more about the labor than I did it, because I was like, yeah, let's go, man, let's go. And you were like, dude, we've been here for like 6 hours, and I was like motivating you, like, and you're like a reasonable person, like, this is crazy. But I did like that element, and then also just how important the equipment is to quality and stuff like that. And we got like the cheapest like starter kit,
sure,
from Ryonet or whatever.
And like thinking back, there was no business plan. We didn't even run any numbers to figure out like our cost basis or any analysis on the numbers of the business or viability of it. We had no projected outcomes, projected earnings. There was no business plan. It was all, let's just It was basically a lemonade stand on crack, is what it was, with a lot more labor.
Dude, now my business is just a lemonade stand on heroin. $5 million in sales later.
Yeah,
like, no,
exactly.
I've gotten better at metrics and stuff, but it took
Exactly.
me like a long time because I'm always like, let's do it and figure it out. But oh man, so then we decided our business model was going to be screen printing for other businesses.
Yes.
Like that's how we were gonna.
Completely fair. We saw others in the space. We were trying to emulate them.
Yeah, and we didn't know anything else, and we just figured people give us money, we print them shirts, we deliver it to them. Philly's a great area. There's a lot of fraternities, sororities. So, what are some of the jobs we did? We started with a sorority at Westchester, and then the Phillies one wasn't really or the Eagles one wasn't really a job. It was just like to sell them in the parking lot.
So,
And then we have my uncle Matt,
Yeah.
Dallas Data Systems.
so I think we had.
All these people want dark. They want dark shirts on.
I know.
We would just take anything. I remember my uncle wanted print on the arm.
On the sleeve of the shirt.
Oh my god, that was
It's
a
like
disaster.
every job we would get was increasing in complexity, and we started getting a few at a time. Where Sean's mom's basement was pretty tiny, maybe like 400 square feet, 500 square feet, something like that. And it got to the point where we were thinking, his mom's literally about to catch the house is about to catch fire, or we're about to get kicked out. So we started to think we need a little bit bigger space and an operation, and the city would make more sense because that's where I lived, and Sean loved the city. I started digging around for places.
So we made that drastic move to the South Philly basement.
Which was, in hindsight, a very cool. I mean, there's this warehouse in South Philly that is an arts warehouse, and there's a lot of stuff going on. There's people printing, people painting, there's people doing knitting, clay, pottery, all kinds of stuff. It was a very cool building, and we had this little spot in this basement back alley corner that was literally a dungeon.
It still wasn't like a production building. It was kind of like an artsy building.
Yes.
But we were thinking this is basically an Amazon fulfillment center.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Because compared to my mom's basement.
Like, we're setting up shop in this basement. This is awesome.
And South Philly's really far from my house. So I remember just making that drive like, oh, I got to print like 2 more shirts. Like, and I was just driving to South Philly. But I didn't care because I was crazy. But it was closer to you. But you lived in Center City.
Yes. Well,
So still, it wasn't the best location.
it was not the best location, but it was cheap rent. And this lady Keisha, is her name Keisha?
Yeah,
So this lady Keisha was like trying to put together a clothing business or clothing line, and she had this rent.
Turns out she scammed us.
She was trying to sublease it, but she was skimming money off the top. She upcharged us, and so there's like a mannequin in there. There's a couch. It was pretty nice. It was like, compared to what we were dealing with, it was cool. Like we were cranking out stuff in there. The jobs were ramping up. We had a bunch of other stuff. We had a few snafu. We were fucking up a bunch of shirts.
We didn't do a terrible job with sales. Like,
No,
we got
sales.
some jobs.
When people heard that we were printing shirts, they were just started flowing. As soon as they started coming in, oh, we can get it for cheap, and there's some of our friends. People were there.
Okay, here's what I was doing. I was hustling, which is good. Then I was giving really cheap prices, and I was taking on the most complex jobs without thinking about it.
Right.
Which was all 3 of those resulted in some work, which was good.
Right.
But, oh yeah.
So
South Philly.
After a couple of months of doing that, the owner of the building comes down and literally like clockwork hits us with the next roadblock. He's like, "You guys have a commercial grade like screen printing cure like heat press down here, like you're gonna burn my fucking building down. Like, what are you doing?"
He was like, "This is not a production center," and he didn't even know we were there for like a month.
He's like, "Where's Keisha?"
Keisha
He's like, "Where the hell's Keisha?"
He's like, "Keisha pays me rent. Where's the hell is she or whatever?"
Yeah.
And he was just trying to get us the hell out of there. And he was nice,
Great guy.
reasonable.
He was great guy.
reasonable, very reasonable guy. There was some other screen printing in the building, but it was people screen printing like 1 or 2 like pieces of art. Like the screen printing wasn't the business.
No.
It was like it could get a little messy there, but he's like, "You have a heat down here?" He's like, "There's linens right over there." He's like, "What if it catches on fire?"
Yeah.
We were like, "I don't know, man."
I mean,
it was a big building, and we were in the basement, so
Yeah.
like we got away with it for a while.
And he was a very savvy businessman. He was very, very smart. And I think he took us up into his office and he basically said to us, I think he owed money to this guy who actually owned a commercial screen printing, like automatic press.
Kui.
This Asian guy, Kui, in the middle of the nowhere, North Philadelphia, middle of the hood.
Kui used to be in that building.
who used to be in that building. I think they were friends, and he owed him money. So here he's saying, here are these two dipshit kids trying to put together a screen printing business. Oh,
No, I don't think he owed. No, I don't think he owed Quee money. I learned a lot about Quee. I think he kicked Quee out of his building.
got it.
Sent him to this shithole building in Paul Street in the crack capital of the world.
Yes.
Kensington,
Yes.
whatever. And then he kicked our ass out to go be with him.
Yeah,
I think that's why that guy's smart.
but the way he positioned it to us was like, I've got
this is to us way
I've got
different.
this great learning experience for you. I've got this guy who is a master screen printer. He owns this huge business. He's printing for
true.
He's printing for Comcast, also true. Printing for all of these huge companies, the Sixers, blah 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 blah. And we're obviously like starry-eyed. We're like, hell yeah, let's go.
Meanwhile, Quee fell off a ladder and broke his fucking back. Remember that?
Yeah. So
Couldn't do anything.
So we get up
Totally healed up.
there and we see this building, and literally there's like rats running everywhere. It's like dripping, like everything you would imagine from like somewhere you're not supposed to go in a movie. And then it like,
Oh my
out of
God.
nowhere, like Shaquille O'Neal falls from the sky into the middle of it. Like that's like exactly where they sent us. Like this building.
It was a dungeon.
Yeah.
A dungeon.
It was a dungeon.
And Quee obviously had the good parts of it. So we had the other part. And we were like, we can make this work.
We're like, we got
can make
this.
work.
We got this. I mean, the space wasn't bad. It was enormous for what we got. And
It was way bigger.
And
it
here,
was bigger.
And here we could middleman the jobs out to get them done professionally, and we'll just skim it off the top.
So that was the first time I ran numbers. Turns out, not much margin there.
Not at all. We made like $50 to $100 off of each job, or something ridiculous. And
Yeah.
so time goes by. We took Keisha's couch and her mannequin with us.
We stole Keisha's couch.
We took her couch with us. We set up this little living room, and it has enough space for us to have a living room in there. And we set up her
By
couch,
living room, we just mean a couch and a table.
and we were back in business.
But we were like, we'll have meetings here and stuff like that.
And it was great. I mean, we were off to the races. We started upgrading our equipment. We started really taking things seriously, and we started really, getting in some good jobs and starting to make some real money.
We never talked about Fireball.
Yeah, I think
Oh my God!
I think
we
that-
eventually gave that job to Quee.
I think that was right around the time when we started to think about moving out, or got caught about moving out, was this.
Because we were there for like 7 days in a row.
It must have been some associate sales or marketing guy who was looking to get T-shirts printed, and he found us on.
I remember who I landed the job. It was this guy I went to New Zealand with, someone he knew.
Got it.
And we got the job. Fireball whiskey.
This is-
I'm used to saying Fireball. I'm used to saying Fireball whiskey because that's what we named Shelby after it.
This was
But Fireball
just
whiskey.
coming out. Fireball
Dude,
was just coming out.
Big company.
Yeah.
Big company. 500 shirts. And they wanted. It was a big job, and they had like a budget to give us. So it was like a well-paying job. All right, so they wanted a print on the left arm, a print on the right arm, a print on the front left chest, and then a big dragon across the side of the shirt.
And there was one on the back too.
Oh my God. So we just was like, yeah. First of all, we already discussed how black is tough to print on. I deal with that till this day, man. Black, we much rather would sell white shirts. But so we took the job, and then we ordered the shirts.
Yes.
It was a big deal. We went to the supplier, Bodick and Rhodes.
Bodick Roads, yes.
Someone bought them, Alpha Broder, and we still use them today. But they ship it to us, which is much more reasonable. But I would go pick it up from them for some reason. But we bought the shirts, 500 black shirts, and we were ready to go. And we found out that every single shirt had a big seam down the side, and we couldn't print the dragon over it. So what we should have done probably right there is, hey man, we can't do this, or we shouldn't have attempted.
What we should have said was, hey, look, we found, based on the design that you've chosen, it's going to cost either more money because it's more complicated, or we can go with a less or something, and we'd have a better turnaround, better turnout.
Right.
And
We should have just told the truth.
And these shirts weren't like, so there's varying grades of quality shirts, and you can get very cheap shirts.
They were next level, right?
Yeah, they're basically American Apparel shirts. These shirts were expensive, very nice quality, and you can't mess them up because that really eats into your profit.
Dude, we could have done so many things differently, but what did we do? We were like, we got this.
We got it.
We got this.
Like, we can handle it.
Dude,
we just printed
could do it.
printed these shirts on for Zeta Tau Alpha as a sorority. We could print on black shirts. We can do 2-color. Are you kidding me? We got this.
Oh my God, it was a disaster. So the shirts were fucking terrible. They were the worst shirts ever. They were, first of all, there was a few upside down, which was just a different different problem. But we tried to do like half dragon and then another half of the back dragon, which means we had to make a different scream. And we didn't do underbass. And I'm sure they came out in the wash right away. So we did 500 of them. So there was 2 screens here, 1 screen here, 1 screen here. And then we had to do 2 screens for the sides because we had to try to do it over the thing. So it looks stupid.
Well, we started it with 1 screen for the side, and then we realized like, oh, we're gonna have to split it down the seam.
You know what? We didn't. We said we should have done this and this, but we didn't even notice the seam.
No, we didn't until the end.
Until we laid the ink down on the
right.
first field.
That's what I mean.
And then we thought there was something wrong with like. We just thought all shirts had seams, so we were just like, oh, we could do it, I think, and we just started printing over them, and it's like, oh, this like seam thing was kind of weird, and like 20 in, we were like, I think we got to do something about this seam. Like
it was really making a mess.
It looked so bad. It looked so bad.
We really did our best. And you boxed them up.
One of the best things ever happened to me was I had to deliver those shirts, and the guy wasn't there, so I left them like in like his like storage space, and he picked them up later. So I didn't have to look this guy in the eye, which I was like, okay, that's probably good. But then he contacted me later.
Not only did he,
I was just like, dude, I always talk about how I like if I get nervous about something, I'm good at knocking it away. This was the most nervous and anxious I've ever been driving to this place to meet up with this guy to deliver these shirts, because I knew inside this box was a fuck storm of nothing, sloppy shirts, and not any of these are wearable.
No,
and they're like a real company, but I just wanted to like not give the money back because we already spent it all. I think he only paid for the first half. So I remember when he emailed me the next day. He emailed me the next day and he said, hey, these shirts, he said one of them's upside down. And he took a picture of the one that was upside down. And I was like, oh, that's your concern?
We're like, oh, that's fine. We'll just, whatever. Just take it from.
I was like, oh, we'll take it off the bill. $498 art upside down.
Yeah.
But then he's just like, this guy doesn't know about shirts. He was like a whiskey salesman. He was like, bars will get like people to like promote and just like go to the place and be like Bud Light with like, I don't know, things you wear around your neck or shirts or whatever.
Exactly.
And that was his job. So he wasn't any shirt expert. And that was a defining moment in my business career, because like we just delivered this guy basically a pile of shit.
But not only that, he took the box, and once he went through every single one, he put together a PDF document highlighting everything we fucked up.
Here's what I think the reason why he did that was because he had to tell his corporate, who was giving us their marketing budget money to him to give to us. He had to like, he probably got fired. He probably got fired. He definitely got fired. He definitely got fired for hiring us.
Good grapes. Because like this guy this is his first piece of pie that he's gonna like run with, and he's like, I can deliver. And here we go, just spearheading like straight through his career.
Like he was probably thinking of all the things he had to do. I got to get these shirts. I got to meet with these bars. He didn't consider the option that the shirts were going to be like
torpedoed
the worst thing ever. She didn't know what to do. But so I remember what happened. We didn't have the money to give it back for the first half because he paid for the first half. So eventually, on credit, we got more shirts and we had Quee print.
Yes.
500 with just like a front, and it was kind of like, okay. So maybe that guy had kept his job. Very unlikely, but
right.
We paid.
We just did it for free
or something like that.
I forget what we did. I think we either did it for free or we still made him pay for the second half, and then we just took that money and had Quee print them, and we took the loss.
Yeah. We did not make money on that job.
So we got hit with that loss, and next thing you know, we get an order that says, I want 200 shirts that just say success across the front of them.
Okay, here it is. Yeah. Okay, tell us.
So we're thinking to ourselves, oh, perfect. We can get our money back. It's an easy one-color job on the front of a shirt.
One color on a white shirt.
One color white shirt. This is like heaven sent from God. We're like, thank you. Here's our piece of the pie. We can basically get our money back with this job. And we're like, what do you want? It's like, I don't know. Just have it say success across the front. And we're like, all right, cool. We're like, it's gonna be like $400
with a green arrow pointing up.
A green arrow pointing up, and we're like,
Success.
hell yeah, done. We're like, I think we went and got wings. We were like celebrating. We get the job. We start doing it. I think we even did it.
Wings.
I think we even did the job.
No, I don't think we did it.
No, I think you're right. We didn't. I don't think we did.
I think
it,
we might have made the screen. We might have made the screen.
We definitely. I definitely remember watching at the screen, and it was just like
We made the screen. So
then he sends us. He's like, I'm gonna send you a little bit more than the money, and I need you to send me the other half back because I'm getting a check from my boss for an X amount of budget or whatever. And unbeknownst to us, this is like a common scam out there. You send him the money back.
We got Craigslist scammed. We got Craigslist
scammed in the most ironic way possible, printing shirts that say success across the front of them.
It was my fault mostly. I mean, I was like in charge of sales, and I was just so pumped to get a white white shirt job, something simple, and I fell into it. I fell to the Craigslist scam. I went to the Giant, the grocery store, and I Western Union this guy $500, which was, remember how much we said $1,000 was before? Why would I Western Union him money?
Because it's the overage.
Because I'm an idiot. Oh, right. Oh, an overage.
Yeah. He sent us like $1,500 or something, or he sent us like $1,000.
That's when we got wings.
Yeah.
When we got the money in the bank account.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh my! I still remember the joy of getting that money in the bank account.
Yeah.
And then he asked about an overage. I was like, "That's fine, man. I don't want to mess with our best client."
And like, because obviously the bank is gonna let it go through until they figure out that the check's gonna bounce.
Right, dude. Oh man. Later on, I know every single detail about banking. When I struggled last year, I know all the details now. But then eventually, not only did all the money come out, we also got fees for a bounce check. And I was just like, "No, I'll call my best client. It's all good or whatever."
Gone.
That was all right. So we fought through all this. So this stuff happened, I think, at either my mom's or the first place. So at the new place, we got a couple good jobs. We had it made money on a few, and then there was the job with my ex-girlfriend's brother.
Yes.
Which hey man, I was tapping every tree I could find. Later on, I learned to love in business, not having to go so person to person. I love my business now is I put out a link, I build an audience, put out a link, people come and buy stuff and we ship it to them. And I don't have to have these one-on-one sales interactions. And I like that a lot better. And I think I have that in my head because I hate person-to-person sales from all the bad experiences I have from this. But this was actually a good experience because he was a cool guy and I was tapping all my sources and he had a basketball camp. And he wanted shirts for his basketball camp. And it was a great job because we're like, oh, he has basketball camps and he has more and more camps and will always be the guy for his shirts. So I remember he said to me the first day, he said, I'm not like a nightmare type of guy for you because I'm really detail oriented about placement and all this stuff. And I was like, all right, we can handle anything. Yeah. Clearly, that's what I thought.
Yep.
And we dealt with all of it perfectly. And we sent him great shirts. We sent him out to California.
He had this guy. Granted, he had so many different. As a designer, he had so many different changes he wanted. He wanted this thing tweaked a little. This thing tweaked a little. He sent us.
He would be annoyed.
He sent us every single name of every single. It was like a roadmap or something like that. He said every single name.
It was all like the cities they were going to. Yeah. Or something like that. It was a very
long roadmap. He sent every city in a document. Everything was prim and proper. Everything was great, ready to go.
Yep.
Created the designs.
All right, drop what happened on this one.
Sean had to go to the NCAA tournament, right? Right?
Okay.
You went to New York.
I think, yep. March Madness, I used to go with my family when Syracuse played there.
Yeah, so Sean went to New York, and it was me and Shelby. And I had to...
Oh, it's just you and Shelby?
I had to print them with Shelby, and we printed them. I was happy about another.
Shelby was a trooper.
Great help. She was awesome. It's like me and Shelby in there for like hours, just banging out these shirts. I think we had white shirts with 2 colors.
White shirts. I think at this point we might have pitched him on white shirts.
Yeah, we knew. And I think he wanted a lot. He wanted like 1,000 or something.
At this point in the sales process, I think we pitched him on white shirts.
He wanted.
I'm proud of learning at that.
He wanted a ton of shirts. So we did the job, sent it off to him, and he refused to
check.
He refused to pay us. after that, the second half, because one of the cities had a typo.
I remember the word. There was a word spelled wrong on the back. You don't remember the word?
I don't remember the word.
I remember the word. Oh, I remember the word till this day. It was blue and red. It was a back rectangle thing, and the word was kindergarten.
That's what it is.
We spelled kindergarten wrong.
We spelled kindergarten wrong.
We spelled the word kindergarten wrong, and he wouldn't pay us, and he lost faith in us. God damn! So we got scammed on Craigslist,
and it was all within It was all within a few months.
All of this was in how long? 6 months?
It was at least, yeah.
Like we were go, but we had. I think I remember breaking it down. I think we had $40,000 in revenue from Pongee Studios in 6 months. So that means like we were on pace for $80,000 in our first year. Like with limited equipment, sales weren't the thing. But oh man, so we got scammed on Craigslist. We got spelled the shirt wrong. That lost us an entire client. And we lost another client because of terrible quality. And we lost another client because of terrible quality for Alpha Phi.
Yeah.
So, good times.
Yeah, and like now that you say it out loud, like thinking back, I'm like, did we ever have anything that was a success?
So, let's think of... there's like a Instagram for Pongee Studios.
Is there?
So, let's... Yeah. And I was looking at it this morning. I got it right here. So, I got a name drop for you. Trendadelphia. Remember him? He was like Trendsetter Inc.
Trendsetter Inc. Oh my God.
That was our best client.
Oh my God.
We nailed his jobs. He just wanted us to do shirts that said Trendsetter Inc. And dude, those we did well on. And then, I had that other sales job. I think this was one of my sales jobs where I stood outside of all the fraternities at Penn, and I waited for one of the guys to walk outside of the door, and I would chase him down and be like, "Hey, do you need shirts?" So we got a job at Penn, Rush PyCap.
Yeah, I also had friends that were in PyCap at Penn. So
right, Julian.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Julian got us in the door at Penn.
Yes.
And then I got that other job, Go Crow. You remember that at all?
I'm looking at the Instagram now.
I landed that job from stalking outside the fraternities at Penn and trying to chase the guys down. So I think we had a couple successful ones with those. Bummer Summer.
That was Radlands.
Radlands. They were across the way from us, and he would only let us print the shirts if they were like cheaper than the guy he normally went to or something.
Right, and I remember one of the shirts was dope, so I just told him that we fucked it up and I kept it for myself.
Oh, then we had Homo Sapiens. We did a shirt for that like lesbian march.
Oh yeah,
remember?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, she wanted like pennies, and
and I had I'm looking back.
Homo sapiens movement.
If you're listening to the podcast, check out Pongee Studios Instagram. You can see some of the bullshit that we put together, and that was a success because obviously we posted on here. A couple of friends came through with some stuff. Oh, we printed. I forget we did stuff for. The Philadelphia Soul. I had a buddy that was...
Okay, I was just going to say that. No, we didn't.
I thought we did.
We mocked up shirts.
Okay.
We have 2 Instagram posts from it.
Yes.
And then remember, we went to the game.
Oh, right, yes.
We don't give a shit about the Philadelphia Soul.
Not at all.
But we were like, we're going to land the whole stadium, the whole thing. And someone gave us tickets or something. We went to the game.
Yeah, my childhood buddy that I grew up with in Georgia was doing an internship or was working for the Soul. And he got us in.
But all that happened was he gave us tickets. And then we just sat in the seats, watched this shitty arena ball game, and we weren't able to talk to the person in charge of making these decisions.
Nope.
But I think this guy was like maybe an intern.
Yeah,
he told us that he might know the guy who knows the guy. So basically he tricked us into buying tickets for 2 games. Yes. And he and he had us mock up shirts. Notice our pictures on the Instagram are mocked up shirts.
That's true. Okay, yes.
Because we were like, yeah, we can do this. That's the other thing I didn't like about this business was that everyone goes to you and asks for pricing and asks for mock-ups. And they ask you to do a bunch of work before. And they're probably doing the same thing with 3 or 4 other companies and they're trying to get the lowest price.
That's exactly right.
And like, I hate that about this business. Here's another job we did for our fraternity, which you transferred, and it was my fraternity, and we had a new dryer then. We were a little more advanced, but it was the new dryer. We didn't have the heat high enough. Half of those washed out. Embarrassing. Very embarrassing in front of
exactly right.
a lot of my friends. I was constantly embarrassed by this business. And I think that's one of the things that gave me like strength. And I wasn't embarrassed all the time. I don't know what this was. I'm looking on the Instagram. 2nd annual Brown Family and Friends Cruise. We call Got Game Camp. Don't want to see that.
Here it is. It's West Hollywood Elementary. If you go to our, you can see there's on the Instagram. There's both the basketball shirt that we fucked up and the Fireball whiskey shirt that was reprinted.
Basically, everything on here is the best picture we could get of a fucked up job.
Exactly. And
dude,
it's just
and then, oh my God.
ridiculous.
And then I remember for my brother, he was hooking up with this girl at a sorority, and we did that job. And it was like glitter. And like I think it did like print the names on the back. And we used one of those other businesses in the South Philly studio to print the names on the back because we didn't have heat press. And I got all the names right. I think I might have done this like at night on my own.
Oh, right. Yes.
But I fucked up one name, and it was the girl he was hooking up with. So when Craig looks back on that job, he's like, yeah, you messed up the whole job. But he said later they like peeled. But like I messed up this girl, the one girl he was hooking up with, his name on the back of her shirt. So we had some successful jobs. We had $40,000 in revenue.
Is that how much it was? That's crazy.
It was $40,000 in revenue. I remember that very specifically.
That's crazy.
All right, so I got three other things I remember. This is like the 3 things I wrote down before that. I thought you might not remember these 3 things. All right, so one of them was, remember the one day I surprised you with a website. We started this business without a website. And the one day I made a website, and it was just the shittiest website. I remember I made it on, what was it called? It was called, I don't know, just one of those simple things that you go, Wix.
Yes, Wix.
It was on Wix.
I was just about to say.
Very, very simple. And it had like a form where you could go fill out, would you like a job? Fill out this form. You know where I'm going with this or no?
I don't.
Oh, yes, you probably forgot this. So this was at the time you're thinking about like quitting your job or moving somewhere closer and like considering how much time you want to spend on this and everything. And we launched the website. And within one day, 24 hours, we had 2 jobs. And you were like, dude, we just launched this website and we got 2 jobs on the website. This is amazing. And I was fired up. I was like, we got 2 jobs. It was Nick Pasidi fucking with us. It was Nick Pasidi. He filled out 2 fake jobs. And I remember like we were so pumped. And I called him back and they stopped answering and stuff. And then I remember I went to the IP address, which I learned something from. You could see the IP address of who filled it out, and it was in Gay Street, Westchester. And our friend, Nick Pasidi. And I remember I thought it was kind of funny, and you're like, it's not funny, man. Like, I like almost quit my job. Like, I almost...
Yeah.
Like, you're like,
I was ready to go. I was ready to go.
Like, I thought it was funnier than you did, but it was definitely...
hilarious.
Like a moment where he was messing with us, and we got 2 jobs on the website that were fake. And then...
In the same vein, not to go off, but in the same vein,
yeah.
we we did a little promo and we gave away like $100 or something.
That was my next one, dude.
Okay.
That was my next one.
Okay.
That was my next one. You were pissed because I was doing marketing here.
Yes.
And I was like, we need like people to follow us and stuff like that. And I don't know, this was not that good of an idea. But I said we're going to give out $50
That's
cash.
Right. $50 cash.
$50 cash to, I think it was 2 people who we pick out of a hat. And I was just on the Instagram. And
can we get the audio clip for that in the podcast? Can we put the audio clip in? Because you saying it.
I know this, and I looked at it earlier. I deleted those from YouTube because they were kind of embarrassing. I kept the 2 on, and the one was like a promotional video, which was pretty funny. But I just said follow and like us on Facebook or in Twitter or something like that, and you're automatically entered to win cash. And I was like, this will get us tons of followers and stuff. It was basically just like our friends and you were like, dude, that's like $100 because I think it was 2 people, $50 each, and you're like,
sure,
we just lost $500 on a scam, like, and I'm like, we got to spend money to make money, like, we disagreed on this, and you were probably right. Like, we got a good amount of followers, but it was just people that we knew, and then we got like 100 followers. Like
Not even much.
my business now is 108,000 on Instagram, 300,000 on Facebook. Like we got like 80 people, and none of them needed t-shirts. They just wanted $50. Like,
and I remember who won. Yeah, I remember he pulls the name. He goes, Chuck Youngman.
Where did Chuck Youngman?
Chuck Youngman?
You know what? I will give this to Chuck Youngman, who's still my friend. He said like, we keep the money. But the other guy was Danny Walk, and he took the money. I remember I had to drive up to the back of the frat house because he was younger than me, hand him $50. I was like, hey, like if you ever need t-shirts, like where are your guys? I was like, I'm your guy.
Unreal.
So that was my big like viral marketing plan. And it grew us to 80 from like 5 followers, but I don't think we got a job from any of those people.
It's certainly
probably because they heard
not.
about from Alpha Phi how it'll wash out right away. But yeah. But geez, that was pretty ugly.
So what's the third?
But,
what's the third one?
So the third one was, I remember, and you definitely don't remember this. I remember early on, before we decided that we wanted to take this screen printing route.
Okay.
Because I never loved the screen printing route. Because remember, I said this earlier. My first idea was SDOT.
Yes.
Which was it was basically like Sean dot like S for my name.
Yes.
But it was a clothing brand idea, and it was kind of the business model I went into after, which was not called SDOT. But I had success. But you were like, no, we're not doing that shit. And I was like, all right. Like, I remember like I was like, let's make one screen that says SDOT, and you're like, no, absolutely, no, I'm not doing that. I was like, okay. You were probably right to do that.
Shut that down.
But then the other thing we didn't talk about was, so the other little endeavor we went into with big, tall, idiot James and Dan Conway was
hilarious.
Tax free. We had the clothing brand idea.
We had this friend. That connected us with another friend who was in the music industry, well, starting to be, and then another guy who was just out of New York, some random. I don't know how you even made money or came into play.
I don't know how we knew them.
And we were brainstorming ideas of putting.
They liked us because we had screen print. They liked us because we had screen printing equipment.
Yeah, so we're like, let's put together some stuff, and we started printing for our brand, and we started printing for his brand. He would like do all the work himself, and he'd bring his own shirts, and he could use our stuff. He had something called
what was the name of his shit?
Pacific Mint.
That's a sweet name.
Yeah. Pacific
Mint. This guy had a little bit of style. He
did.
was literally the laziest person in the world. He would do like one thing a month.
Exactly.
He was like update his website with like a different color or something.
Yeah, and then we came up with this idea, tax free. And I remember
tax free.
It was not bad. It
was gonna be the four of us, and it was gonna be a clothing brand. It was gonna be like streetwear.
Yes.
And it never
took off. But the funny story about that is he brought these nylon duffel bags with him one day. He wanted to print them, and there was a black one. I just stole it, and I still use it to this day.
Really? You still have it?
I still have it.
Does it say Pacific Mint?
And people always give me shit for it because I have this tiny ass duffel bag, and I pack so much into it.
Ah, dude. But so this was 6 months from start to finish, basically. And then I was like, I don't know, man. I think I gotta like move on from this. Like, I'm like sick of backbreaking labor and making no money. And then the crazy thing is, like, the exact like business is still the one I have till this day. But obviously I took a good transformation after that.
Yes.
I learned so much from this. I personally hated the B2B sales. I never did B2B sales since then because I hated the fact that you had to spend all this time with one client. I didn't like that. And it was locally based. It was hard to boom because the delivery element.
Exactly.
The element. So we were all Philly based because why would we get clients in Montana? We would have to ship it to them and stuff. And we did have that one in California. And shipping, I think we just took the hit on the shipping costs because. So it was a good path. It was a good starting point for me.
And I think the turning point for you was the Notre Dame championship game when you printed the shirts, and then that's when you realized
that was after. Yeah, that was when I was like, that was when I first made real money.
Yeah,
and I was like, I'm on to something, and that was the start of $15 tees.
Yes,
and then United tees, and then United monograms, and then Lowery brands, and I mean, I have a $5 billion business now It's so different, but it was built off the foundation of this. And oh, dude, so it's just the stories are ridiculous of how bad some of the products were.
Exactly.
And,
but I will say, for me, I look back on the time, and during it was hell, backbreaking labor. We went through so much shit, but it was a wild ride. And I will say, it has taught me a lot about what it takes to be successful. It taught me a lot of grit and hustle. It taught me a lot of invaluable things that I took into my career and has just paid off tenfold for me. So without that,
yeah, I mean, you've had a successful career, right?
Yeah,
you've been a developer, designer. You have a beautiful place in Chicago now, and this was like your first thing. So
yes, I've been involved in a bunch of other startups, built a few different things on my own as well, and it's just like that. If I hadn't had that, it wouldn't have taught me what it takes.
So for the people listening, like 6 months of fucking chaos, losing money, mess of bad jobs and hard times. I think for both of us, that was a foundational period.
Oh, 100%.
Of growing up and learning what it takes to be successful, like how hard it really, really is.
And the best part is you fail forward. So it's just like you take this risk, and even if you're failing every other second, you're failing to success.
Yeah. And like we had to learn optimism, and we didn't quit after we got scammed. We didn't quit after we learned the first time that we messed up everything and it washed out. We're like, all right, let's keep figuring out. So like we kept fighting through it, and we adapted, and we moved in 3 different buildings.
Yes,
3 different buildings. My mom's basement, South Philly, and then way North Philly, and in the ghetto. The ghetto,
literally
Kensington.
There's articles about heroin and crack in Kensington, Philadelphia, and I remember we would have this back alley with a parking spot, and it was fenced in, and we'd have to hop out, unlock the fence, and we'd literally lock ourselves in there. We were literally locking ourselves in there.
It was a dangerous area. And I remember we would go up to, like, once in a while, we'd go up to get, like, a soda, and there'd be guys selling, like, the Lucy cigarettes.
Yeah.
Like,
people, it's like, here's 2 white guys that are, like, clean shirts and wearing polos and stuff, and they're walking into the bodega on the corner, and these guys are looking at us like prime rib, ready to pounce. No.
Damn. But, all right, like, I got one more question for you to wrap it up. But did we covered it, man. 6 months of business when we were young and stupid and ambitious. And we were stupid, but our mindset was smart in a way. Like, we knew we had to keep figuring stuff out. We took on things we didn't know how to do, and we couldn't do them. But that's a good attitude. And I still deal with shirts to this day. And I guess what I don't do now, screen printing.
Yes.
I have digital printers. And I will never bring screen printing in house. I don't think ever again.
It's not worth it.
Where my business goes.
If you're thinking about if you're listening and you're thinking about creating a screen printing company, I would never tell you no, but just understand that it's backbreaking labor and the profits are slim.
The profits are slim. All right, so my last 2 questions for you. I guess one you already answered. I literally wrote down what lessons did you learn, but I think you covered that. Like it helped you be successful in your business career.
100%, and I've, like I said, I've been involved in the creation of other startups, small tech companies, and I think the things that I've learned in this seemingly useless T-shirt company was invaluable, and I don't think I would have learned that anywhere else. And it's one thing that I think about a lot, and I like looking. Obviously, when you're progressing through life, you never stop to look back and say, "Wow, okay, now I see how things lined up." But the things that I learned, like I said, grit and hustle are the 2 biggest things that I learned from that, and it's paid off tenfold for me.
You can't just like say grit and hustle and understand it. Like actual like grit and hustle, like the real deal shit is way different than just thinking about it.
It's just like the attitude, and I think in my current roles, it's just they rely on me because they know that I'm going to do anything to get something done, and they can rely on me. And I think that's what it took when we were out there is, there's nothing that could stand in our way, big or small. And we would take a setback and we would move 10 paces forward. And I think that's what it taught me.
Absolutely. Love it. All right, so my last question is: this is the Sean Lowery Show. So, what do you, as someone who's been my friend, business partner, associate, you know me in every light. What do you think about my current personal brand kick that I brought on?
I think your niche is something that only you could juice, and I think that.
What do you think my niche is?
I think the niche is the monogram business.
Well, right. So, yeah, the monogram business is going amazing. But I'm talking about how I recently started posting on Instagram.
Oh, you're
my
saying
podcast.
Yes.
Ever since
okay.
ever since I started my podcast, which is 7 weeks in, and I've been doing the Instagram videos. What do you think about that?
I mean, personally, myself, I love it because you're a lunatic, and I love the slice and the view into Sean Lowery's world because I know you're a crazy bastard, and to see that daily is just. I mean, I look forward to it because why wouldn't I? I mean. 80% of businesses fail within their first 3 years or so.
Yeah. I mean, my take on it is I am a lunatic and I have a successful business and I could see it as a waste of time. But, I hired Ian here to do monogram videos and also to do personal branding stuff. And I think I could be, I annoy the hell out of Shelby all day talking in her ear. So I might as well just talk to other people. Imagine. So I might as well just start a podcast. And just as I was embarrassed when I did the Pongee Studios stuff, I put this stuff on my Instagram and I think about my aunts seeing it and people, they're probably like, oh, that guy's weird. But then I take it all in. I'm like, I don't care. We're all going to be dead one day.
And you also,
maybe I could
you took the risk to start these companies anyways. With the perception that people would obviously doubt it or think it's weird or think it's bullshit or whatever.
I'm so good at that now. Yeah, not caring what people think.
I think that's another thing I learned. That's another thing I learned from being a part of this journey is that you have to have resilience and you can't you're going to start something and people are going to look at you and be like, what the fuck are you doing? That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my entire life. And you just have to stay on that one track mind and get there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I literally, some days I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, my aunt saw that Instagram. And then I take these thoughts and I say, it's one of my quotes. I take them, I acknowledge them, and then I just smack it away and whatever. And then I just compartmentalize it and I'm I don't care. I don't care. And some people like it. I bet you more people like it than don't like it because people don't give a shit about me. So they just see it. And if they don't want to watch it, they don't. And if they do, they do. And I've been connecting with new people that are really interested in getting advice, and that'd be cool if I could meet up with someone. And I don't know, maybe I'll write a book one day, or maybe I don't know. We'll see. But right now, I'm just having fun with it. It's only once a week. I'm doing a podcast, and it's not really taking that much time out of my schedule, and I'm having fun with it. And I do think I have a lot of things to say, and I'm always coming up with some crazy idea. So I might as well spread it out to the world. And the best case scenario, I'm famous. Worst case scenario, I get made fun of crazy. And that's funny too, because then I can laugh at myself getting made fun of.
I think the best part for me is that I get to see. I think you bring your true self to it. There's a lot of you bring your quirkiness to those videos, and I think that's personally for me. That's why I watch it because I don't see you enough. I don't see you often, and when I watch those videos, it's just hilarious because that's Sean. That's Sean.
I love it, man. I love it. All right, so I'm gonna do an outro. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Anything else you got?
That's it. I think we covered everything.
All right, so let's wrap it up. All right, so the quote I said when I started was that I don't know if I'm smart, I don't know if I'm stupid, but I'm not scared to find out. Now I've had success in business, and I consider myself a smart person. But this, going back to this journey of the early days, reminds me of how stupid I was only 7 years ago, and I'm excited for the version of me in 7 years to look back at how stupid I am now. So thanks everyone listening thanks everyone listening to the Sean Lowery Show, episode 7. Thank you to John DeSouza, my boy, my guest, my pledge brother,
of course,
my business partner, and it's been great. So peace out, love, and I appreciate everyone listening.